We're the only people on the road right now, which is really peaceful or either not a good sign, but it is incredibly beautiful up here. Hello from Bled, Slovenia.
I'm Darren.
And I'm Stephanie.
Thanks so much for stopping by our channel. This week we are back in one of our most favorite places in the world of Slovenia.
It's actually Thanksgiving right now back in the States, and we brought some family back with us this time. We were actually here 4 years ago, and we love this area. We spent a couple days here in Bled and then went up into some of the surrounding mountains, but we had terrible weather and could barely see the mountains while we were here. So we decided to come back at a cooler time of year, November instead of May, but as you can see, we're off to a very misty and mysterious morning. So we're hoping that the weather clears and we can really show off this area.
The weather forecast does not look super promising, but there are a few potentially good days that we hope to take the most advantage of that we possibly can. Slovenia is a little piece of paradise, tucked between the borders of Austria, Italy, Croatia, and Hungary. We brought along Stephanie's mom and dad to spend 48 hours in the Julian Alps region during the off-season. We based ourselves in Bled, and one of the best ways to experience this fairy tale town is by foot.
We've gotten a little bit of a break here in the weather, so we decided to do what you do here in Bled, which is walk around the lake. We stopped to visit the iconic Bled Church. Now, we use one of the traditional boats, which costs €15 a person, so it's a little expensive, but they know what they've got. It's a peaceful ride out. It takes about 10 minutes, and you only get 30 minutes on the island, but that's about all you need. You can check out the church, you can check out the bell tower, you can eat some cake, and come back and be back in all about an hour.
Something to know about the oarsmen of these boats here in Bled is that these boats are passed down from generation to generation, and there are only 23 families who were given basically access to row these boats out to the island. And so our oarsman was an 8th generation. It's very similar to Venice. Our gondolier that we spoke to there was passed down generation over generation. I believe he was 4th or 5th generation. So similar, but kind of cool. It takes about an hour and a half to complete the easy 6-kilometer trail around Lake Bled, but you'll want to plan extra time to enjoy the calm scenery, which was especially calm on a cloudy fall day. Bled has serious competition when it comes to being the most beautiful Slovenian town, with another picturesque lake and town located a short drive away.
So to take in the nice weather a little bit more, we drove about 30 minutes south to the town of Bohinj, which has its own incredible lake. It's kind of more of a fjord with a lake in between the mountains, so it's very dramatic. This area is very popular during the summer, and when we were here in May 4 years ago, it was quite packed. But we're here in November, and we really have a lot of this area to ourselves. There's very few people here.
Yeah, a little tip we just figured out. We struggled to park the last time we were here because you have to pay to park everywhere. But between November 1st and December 31st, parking is actually free in town. So that was a nice little surprise. Bohinj sits at the entrance to Triglav National Park, so it's a hub for outdoor activities, like hiking and cycling, especially in the summer. We understand that to be considered a true Slovenian, you need to have peaked Mount Triglav, which we're pretty sure we can see from where we're standing. I don't know that it'll come through on the video.
I think it's
but
back
it's
there.
right up there somewhere, we think.
We've wanted to do that hike. I believe it takes about 2 days, but we're not up to it on this trip, and
No.
I think that's more of a summer excursion.
We'll train for next time. The town will again have plenty of visitors when the nearby ski center opens for the season in late December. But on a quiet day in November, we chose to simply admire the sun setting over the mountain peaks with very few tourists in sight.
Whatever the mountain, we'll climb to the next. Honey, I'm with you through life and to death.
After walking around Bohinj, we decided to make about a 50-minute drive back to the town of
Radovljica,
which is only about 10-15 minutes from Bled. The town has a historic old city center. It has some really cute architecture. The town, I believe, is known for chocolate. We were really excited to try some of that, but we were racing against the sunset and by the time we got there, everything was pretty much closed. However, we decided to go ahead and eat dinner at a restaurant there called Augustine. So the restaurant was not busy at all, but we had an incredible dinner. There was like a 3-course meal deal, and then it had wild boar as the main feature, which I don't think I've ever had wild boar before like that, and it tasted like a more flavorful steak. We are stuffed, but we have not had one of the key features here in Bled, which is Bled Cake. And it's about 8:30 or so at night, so we're gonna go get in one more pastry for the day.
So we're here at Confectionery Zima. It was recommended by our Booking.com apartment owner. He suggested that we come here as opposed to the waterfront because the waterfront is much more expensive. You're essentially paying for the view. We bought cakes there the last time we were here, and they were probably 2 to 3 times the price of this one. Pretty good.
Is it everything that you remember?
I think it is. It's pretty tasty. Pretty perfect.
Very, very delicious. Good. Everything was cracked up to be.
While Bled cream cake was the icing on a laid-back scenic day, the next morning pulled out all the stops, starting with an unexpectedly clear sunrise. All right, so it is the next day. We filled our bellies all day yesterday, and today is an exciting day because A, the weather is nice, and B, a mountain pass that we thought was closed is open.
So we woke up this morning to beautiful blue skies, something that was not forecasted. It was supposed to be pretty cloudy today. So we left Lake Bled, which was looking gorgeous. You could finally see that it was surrounded by the Alps, and took about a 30-45 minute drive to Kranjska Gora, which is a ski town near the Austrian and Italy borders. We were getting ready to go around on another highway over to Italy, but we got a surprise when we stopped in at a hotel.
Yeah, I stopped in at a Best Western here in Kranjska Gora just because we saw some people turning down the road to go over the mountain pass that we thought was closed. So we stopped in and asked, and they said, sure enough, it is open. Nothing special required to make the pass today. And so we're making an unexpected turn to hopefully see much more scenery than we saw the last time we made this drive, which was pretty well socked in with fog. Today it looks clear, so we're going to try to beat the fog and head up right now. The Vršič Pass is a high mountain road, and once you leave Kranjska Gora, you'll start a series of 24 steep hairpin turns up to 5,200 feet.
So we've made it about 4 kilometers up the road. So the road was built during World War I by Russian POWs, so about the year of 1916 or so. And during that time, a lot of the Russian POWs were dying in harsh winter conditions. And then that year there was a terrible avalanche that killed hundreds more. So there's a Russian chapel that was built where the last casualty of that avalanche was found.
The area that we're passing through now has a lot of World War I history. We're actually crossing over the Vršič Pass into the Soča River Valley, which the Soča front is named after, which was a very important part of World War I as well. Just a lot of history in this area, some really stunning views along the way.
I guess as an American kid growing up, there was a lot of focus on World War II history. And I don't know an incredible amount about World War I, but it is just staggering to learn how many people died in this area.
Yeah, over 1 million casualties on the Soča front.
It's a very weird feeling to take in this history in such a beautiful setting.
Let's go. Hopefully the car doesn't quit on us.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
We're the only people on the road right now, which is really peaceful or either not a good sign, but it is incredibly beautiful up here. There are mountains on every side. We had been up here before like 4 years ago, and there was completely socked in clouds and you could see absolutely nothing. There is one cloud that is trying to beat us up the mountain and ruin our day, but I've already seen 99% more than I saw the last time I was in Slovenia, and it is just stunning. I don't know what to say about it.
Snow can easily make the winding road impassable, which is why we assumed it would be closed in late November. Evidence that we made it.
We are at the top of the Vršič Pass, and
very foggy.
The clouds have completely caught up with us. And now we're gonna head down the mountains to Bovets.
The 26 hairpin turns down to the Trenta Valley will lead you by the remains of an old cable car line before you reach the valley floor cut by the Soča River.
Darren is very relieved. Our little car made it up and down across all of those switchbacks with very few problems, and we didn't have to deal with any traffic, so that's good. But we have made it to the Soča River Valley, and you can see the water is already this unrealistic green that is also crystal clear at the same time. It's not photoshopped, it really looks that color. And it's probably brighter than you can actually tell on camera.
Continuing on the route through Trenta, you'll pass country farms and guest houses, which open up to campers in the warmer months and offer their farm-fresh products to eat.
So we just made a stop at a guest house that also makes their own cheese. And it didn't look open, but we knocked on the door and they did have cheese. So now we're gonna eat it. They typically start making the cheese in February and March when the sheep are having babies, and then continue the cheese production throughout the summer. So we're here in November and they have the cheese packaged up, but they are still open for cheese sales. And 2 minutes later, we've put some serious hurt on the road cheese.
This drive offers poignant reminders of the region's brutal World War I fighting, often alongside some of the most beautiful scenery.
Made it down the road a little bit further, and this area is nicknamed the Valley of Cemeteries just because of the people who are buried here after World War I. We're here in Soča, where there's a cemetery behind a church that holds the remains of 1,400 soldiers.
The road will also take you to nature sites that reveal the full power of the Soča River and test your fear of heights. So we've made about a 2-minute drive down the road from the church we just told you about to the Grand Canyon of the Soča River. So we're going to take a little hike and see what this little area has to offer here.
You ready to cross the bridge, Mom?
I don't know.
Come on, we'll all do it together.
No, I don't want to do it together.
So it's just that first step. Look, there's a beam underneath it. Oh wow. You're almost there.
It's terrifying. You can see the view from this side.
But it's a pretty river.
Yeah, you can see it from here.
So as you continue down the road from the mountains, you have an option to go towards Bovets, or you can turn off to go towards the Kluže Fort, which is only a couple minutes down the road. It was first developed in the 15th century by the Italians to keep the Ottomans out. Then by World War I, the Austro-Hungarians redeveloped this fort to keep the Italians out of this area. So they were pushing cargo through here.
Since the town of Bovets seemed empty for the off-season, we decided to drive on past the Kluže Fort and over the Predel Pass, climbing up again to nearly 3,800 feet, and passing the ruins of another high mountain fort and memorial to fallen 17th century soldiers, before leaving Slovenia for a lower drive back.
And we crossed over the border into Italy, came down and saw a beautiful lake, and then made a little bit of a loop back into Slovenia, and now we're back in Lake Bled, and we're up by the Bled Castle, which is beautiful here at twilight with these Christmas lights set up.
Yeah, so after this, I think the Christmas market in Bled actually started today, so we're going to try to check it out.
We're hoping that this is the first of many Christmas markets that we're going to experience. It was kind of bustling right when it opened. It's actually the first night here on November 29th. So they had a little bit of an opening ceremony, and the stalls were quite busy for a little while. There were some sausages, some pork ribs, some hot chocolate, some old wines.
Right now it's 8:38. We just walked back through on our way after having a little bit of coffee and dessert, and it was pretty deserted, so it cleared out pretty quickly. So I don't know how crowded it stays throughout the season. It'd be a nice little market to check out, though, while you're in town. Some nice items to kind of feel festive in the season.
Now, while we were going to eat something at the market, we actually decided to get some dessert and get more Bled Cake. But we went to the place that claims to be the original, and they're on the lake.
It was €1 or so more. I actually thought it was better. To me, it was creamier, a little bit richer, a little bit more flavor, and a tad bit sweeter to soothe my American sweet tooth. So that's probably why I liked it more, maybe just a little bit more sweetness.
I think the important thing to note is that if you're here in Bled for a day or a couple days, you may need to try more than one Bled cake. And take note of the differences and decide which one's your favorite.
Yeah, you can also buy it at the grocery store too. So you can range anywhere from, what was the grocery store price? €2 or so for 2 slices, up to €5 or so per slice at the higher end places. So try them all, decide which one you like the best.
But that pretty much wraps up our time here in Lake Bled. 2 full days. We've gotten to see the lake itself and drive up into the mountains, which was an incredible experience. We were supposed to have terrible weather, but it cleared. It was actually a really beautiful time here to explore. Tomorrow, we are going to Zagreb, Croatia. So you'll have to check the next vlog. We're going to the opening night of their Christmas market, which was voted 3 times in a row the top Christmas market in Europe.
Yep, we just have one night there just to check out the opening ceremonies. It should be a day of madness, I would imagine, with all the people. So we're looking forward to it, a little overwhelmed by what to expect.
That was a lot of fireworks, really close to the crowd.
But excited nonetheless.
Our understanding that it takes up a good portion of the main part of the city, and we're also going to check out the city itself and explore the lower and upper town.
Yep, so we'll see you in the next vlog. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you like this video, please be sure to click the like button and click subscribe if you want to see more of our videos.